This was my first ever time at Outside Lands, and I want to give some of my thoughts on both the experience of going to the festival and also the sets themselves to give you an example of what it could look like if it's your first year going as well. The first thing I'll discuss is purchasing tickets. I purchased mine as part of the Eager Beaver discount. It went on sale before the lineup even dropped, so I had no idea who I was going to see, but I believe there was about like a $40 discount on what the tickets were after the fact. So this is for only 3-day tickets, and yeah, you don't know who's going to be there. It was a big mystery when the lineup did drop. But if I were to go again, I wouldn't do this discount. I knew for a fact that I wanted to go to the festival this year just to experience it. So that is why I did that discount. But I can see going again or in the future, I might just wait for the lineup to drop to see if I liked anyone. Because to be honest with you, I was not a huge fan of the headliners this time. On top of that discount, there's also a lot of different options. You can get VIP, GA+. I went for straight general admission because I just wanted to get in there the cheapest possible. And honestly, I was a little worried about things with GA. I thought it would be super packed. The restroom lines would take over an hour. I was hearing all these horror stories for people, but honestly, after experiencing it, I think GA is perfectly fine. As long as you don't want to be right up next to the artist, it's chill. People have picnic blankets. I think that is something that got kind of overblown from me because I was, I think, over preparing myself and like researching all of the horrible stuff that could happen. But that's kind of my anxiety's way of dealing with it. And I was prepared, and luckily I didn't need to be in some ways. So hopefully this video can kind of show you guys what the realistic experiences might be so that you are not also in that situation of being overprepared, or you're not in the situation of being underprepared either. After purchasing tickets, later on there is an option to purchase a locker for 3 days. That'll be $90. And then there's also an option to purchase a shuttle pass, and that 3-day one, depending on if you wanted to go from the Civic Center, it would be $60 for the weekend. And if you wanted to go from the Cow Palace in Daly City, it would be $90 for the weekend. I decided to do the Cow Palace shuttle because it had free parking. And it ended up being really convenient. I really recommend that option. It was new for this year, and it wasn't very busy, so I really hope that they bring it back next year because not many people used it. If you're coming from San Francisco, I would recommend the Civic Center one, but just because I'm not near a BART station, I would have to drive and then BART and then take the shuttle. This was a lot more convenient because I could just drive and take the shuttle, and it was really fast. It took me only an hour to get into the festival just from like being at home to being there, which is very convenient. As for the locker, I decided against purchasing one because I thought it was quite expensive. I also had a clear backpack with me. I was able to carry all the days. However, if you're going to be like dancing a lot or want to be up close and kind of moving a lot, that clear backpack could be something that's like in the way or like bumping against other people. So that's the only thing to keep in mind. If you want to be like dancing a lot or not have that extra weight. After 3 days, it did get kind of heavy and my shoulders were kind of hurting. But $90 for a weekend, and that locker is not very big. If like all of your friends have clear backpacks, they're not going to fit. It's just like a cube, and it'll fit one or two. But unfortunately, it's not the best. And like it's quite expensive and only in one spot on the festival grounds. So you have to like keep walking back and forth if you want to grab stuff from it, which could take you like 20 minutes depending on where you are. So that's all of the costs. In total, I spent $590 to purchase the festival ticket and then also the shuttle service, which I was expecting to pay more because I was expecting to pay for BART. I was expecting all these additional costs, but it really honestly wasn't that bad. It is bad. It's expensive, but like every festival is going to be pricey. If you're local to the area, I'd say I'd recommend it. But if you're from outside the area, staying in San Francisco is pricey. And if you have a car, you could do the thing where you go to the Cow Palace from another place. You could stay somewhere where it's cheaper. But the Bay Area is pricey in general as well. So that's something to keep in mind. Now let's move on to a few things where I think Outside Lands is one of the best festivals because honestly the weather was so ideal. I hate being hot in a crowd full of people. I would have been so miserable, but luckily the temperature was great every day. I was worried, honestly, that I was going to freeze to death. I thought it was going to be freezing cold. But no, if you have pants on and a t-shirt, like, you're pretty good most of the day. You probably want a jacket because it's going to get cold at night. But it's not that bad. It's also a lot better than being hot and sweaty and gross. The one thing I will say is that I did get a major sunburn because I wasn't expecting how much sun there was compared to how cold it was. If it's cold out, you can still get a sunburn, guys. And I definitely experienced that this weekend. Another thing I really liked is I do feel like it had a very chill atmosphere. Unless you're in the front. Obviously, the front is going to be crazy, but there's enough space that if you put a picnic blanket out and you just kind of sit there during the headliner, you can often see the stage. Not always, but the screens themselves are really big as well. So even if you can't see the artist on stage, if you're like far back, picnic blanket out, chilling, you have a good chance of seeing. And obviously, there's speakers everywhere, so you can also hear really well. You can dance, you can just like hang out. This is something I really appreciated. And at a normal concert, you don't have that huge area to like relax. While at a festival, you do. And that was really great. For a Hozier set, for example, me and my friend just put out a picnic blanket and we sat down. We stood up, we were off to the side, and it was really relaxing, really comfortable, especially after a long weekend. And we still could see the stage. We could see him right there. Another common critique I hear is that there's a lot of walking. Like, the stages are 20 minutes apart from each other. It's crazy. You're going to be trekking through the hills. No, you're not. Wear comfortable walking shoes. You're going to be standing all day. It's going to be hurting. But the stages aren't really that far apart from each other compared to like any other music festival you're going to go to. It's like probably the same. I haven't been to any other major music festivals, so I don't know, but it wasn't that bad. Jeez, guys. I mean, they have to be far enough apart that you're not going to hear the audio, obviously. The only thing I will say is the walk from the Soma stage to the Sutro stage is on this like path with lots of little twigs and roots in the ground, and you have to be careful about that, especially at night. So that's the only place I could say that you could fall over. I almost did, but obviously it's going to take you quite a bit of time to get between places if you're in a crowd. If it's like empty in the beginning of the day, it's not going to be that bad. Another thing to keep in mind is Saturday is going to be the most crowded. It was worse because Vampire Weekend had their morning set, so I think a lot of people got there early this time. But in general, I believe it's probably going to be the same. That's another thing to keep in mind. If you go early, I went around when doors opened every day, or around when the music was starting every day, and it was really nice to just walk around to the different booths. They were giving away nerds, they were giving away fanny packs, all this stuff they were giving away. So that's something to keep in mind if you just want that time. I also really enjoyed the smaller acts, oftentimes a lot more than the bigger ones. So it's a good way to find new artists that way as well. What are other things I was worried about? Oh, the porta potties. It's not that bad, you guys. You'll have to use porta potties. You will. But maybe it was like this year it was better because they never ran out of toilet paper. There was only one time where I went and there was no soap and water. They were keeping it stocked. I would not venture that it would be a good idea to go after a huge set in between or like after the headliner. I feel like maybe that's where things go bad. I did go in between the sub-headliner and headliner at Land's End at one point, and I had to wait 5 minutes in line, and they had toilet paper, they had soap and water. There was times where I would go early in the day because I was like, let's prep, let's go now because later it's going to be bad. And at times I was the first person to use that porta potty in the day. It was like clean. Obviously later on it's not going to be clean, but that's how they work. They cleaned them pretty frequently. I saw them running around with toilet paper. I saw them cleaning and adding water to the dispensers. They are on top of that because they have to be. There are handicapped porta potties, so if you need extra room to say like put on another layer to change, you can do that in there as well. I did talk a bit about how you can actually see the stage from pretty far away. The big screens are really helpful, and you can just like set up a blanket. There are some areas that have hills on the side, so the Sutro stage and Twin Peaks stage both have that hill, and if you set up a picnic blanket there, during some of the less popular sets, you may be able to see sitting down. I watched Role Model in a horizontal position, and I could see him on stage. It did get more crowded, especially once you brought Troye Sivan on stage. Like, I wasn't able to see anymore, but like there was a moment there where I was lying down and I could see him, not just the screen, I could see his physical body, and I was just chilling on my picnic blanket. It's not that bad. It's nice. I think that you could go to Outside Lands and just sit on a picnic blanket all day. And I think you would have a great time. I was crazy and wanted to see people on every single stage all day. We were running between them. One night we went to all 3 headliners. We spent 20 minutes at each headliner. We saw Vampire Weekend, Gesaffelstein, and Tyler, the Creator. You can do it. You don't have to do it, but it's possible. The only slow moving crowd that we were in was during after Marina's set. Everyone kind of migrated over from Twin Peaks to Land's End, and that was slow. We were kind of just moving with the pack, but that's because we were close to the stage, and I understand a lot of people like to be close to the stage. I ultimately love a little spot to sit a little ways away. Oh, that's my cat. And I think that was honestly better than expected. If everyone tried to sit further away, then we would have crowds of people sitting further away. It would get busy there too. And at times the hills did fill up with space. I enjoyed it. It was a really great atmosphere, and I don't think that something like Coachella can be like that because they are all flat ground. They're on a desert. They can't have the hills. They don't have the grass. Now, there was some people throwing up, I will say. There's people had too much to drink. I didn't notice any problematic people being super pushy or anything, but there were some people heaving onto the ground. There was some people hey, don't stand there, there's some throw up there, be careful. It's a festival. People are drinking. People are on drugs. Somebody asked me if they could have a Hi-Chew from my backpack because they saw in the clear backpack I had Hi-Chews, and I was like, sure, have one. But I'm pretty sure that they were on something because, but I hope they enjoyed it. But people were pretty friendly in general. People were pretty chill in general. I didn't have too many bad experiences. Obviously, once you get into a crowd, sometimes people are annoying and they'll try to push in front of you if there's space in front of you, but I guess that's fair. This is why I enjoyed standing further away, and I did not get anywhere near the stage for Gracie or Tyler, and I heard that was a nightmare. There are people who camp at Barricade all day, and honestly, I could have done that. By the time when we showed up, Barricade had space, but why? I'm not built for that. I'm not built to stand in one place all day long and not be able to go to the bathroom and then be shoved against a barricade by people and have a panic attack. That's not for me. I'm good. I'm good over here. The artist doesn't need to make eye contact with me. I don't need to high five them. I'm listening to the music, And I got to see so many artists because there's 40-minute breaks between sets, but if you're walking back and forth, I was the second day, you can see an artist at all times. You don't even have to take a 5-minute break. I was not doing that, and it was a lot. We saw 13 artists on the second day. Let that sink in that each set was 40 minutes, and that's a full day. I mean, we were obviously not staying for the full set for all of them, but yeah. What are my thoughts on the lineup? I do think that the festival's not worth it if you're only going to go for the headliner. The festival is about finding these new artists who aren't as popular. And when I first heard the lineup, I didn't know a lot of these people. I listened to these people ever since May, when the lineup came out. I've been listening to them nonstop. I think it's a nice project, year-long project, to find new artists. And I hope that other people take it that way and not just I know some people will just show up for the headliners, and that's great because it makes it less busy during the day. But I don't know. I think that is part of the fun and the magic of going to a festival and being able to learn these new artists. So what are my final thoughts about Outside Lands, about music festivals, my first major music festival that was 3 days long? I do think a lot of this, it goes down to how well the organizers plan. It comes down to location is really great, and I think being in San Francisco, they get really great weather out of it. Having all the infrastructure that they do really makes it feel safe and feel better. They had emergency exits everywhere, clearly labeled. So many porta potties that the lines were never too long, and it was a big enough grounds to hold the amount of people that had been there. I do see how things could go badly if it's poorly organized and like the infrastructure is not there. But they had so many food options too, free earplugs. Like, I feel like they thought of really everything, and that's probably part of being around for so long, is that you do encounter these problems along the way. And I felt very comfortable going there. Like, it didn't feel like I was in a mad crowd, or I didn't have to be if I didn't want to. The shuttles, there was no line for the shuttles. We always left a little early because we didn't want to have that rush of people leaving with us. So that could help as well. Also, you are allowed to bring your own food into the festival, so that is nice. I brought sandwiches every single day, so I didn't spend $1 on food. The only money I spent actually at the festival was for this cool poster in the back. I don't know if you can see it, but that was $50. It was crazy. It's a piece of paper for $50, but there's only 300 of them in the world, and I own one, and it's on my wall forever. So to me, that is worth it because it's like my first music festival. So that was really great. The food is expensive though. And if you actually are planning on spending money on food, it'll add up. I was lucky to be able to bring my sandwiches every day and snacks in my backpack. I I would recommend everyone bring food. I would recommend everyone bring hand sanitizer, tissues, sunscreen, phone portable charger if your battery is not good. Even if it is, I have like a brand new battery with 100% capacity, and it was getting down there at the end of the night just because I took so many concert videos. My storage is dying. My storage is dying. Overall, I would recommend going to Outside Lands. I do know it's expensive. $500 is a lot. And I do think you pay for the convenience of seeing these artists all together, all at once. But, like, you could go to, like, 5 concerts for $100, each. And that would spread out along a further amount of time. This is all packed into a weekend, so you really get all that high of, like, going to all the concerts. You might even get tired of going to these artists and seeing them at the festival, whereas you could spread it out more. I did the math. I saw like 28 people. I think it was about like $16 for each if you count it that way. So like that's affordable. You're not seeing Doja Cat or Hozier for $16. But even like divorced from the money aspect of it, at least I had a convenient experience getting there each day. I know if you have to like book hotels or travel, that's going to be added costs. And I'm lucky enough to live where I don't have that added cost. I think most people live within some distance of a music festival, and I think that whichever one's your local one is probably the most convenient to go to. Going to multiple in a year is not also practical. It was so fun though. I really hope that people take from this that it's not as intimidating as it seems. I am someone who's kind of anxious in these situations, and I felt like after the first day, I was really surprised by how relaxed it could be. As there's a lot of times where you can like accidentally get caught in that packed mob, but if you just like work your way out of it before it gets too bad, then you will be fine. Crowds can be a lot for me, so I just know that like staying near the back, even if you think like, oh, shouldn't it be better to go to the front? Like sometimes it is better to stay back. It depends the kind of person you are, I guess. I had a great time at Outside Lands, and I hope other people are inspired or feel more comfortable going now that they know it's not that bad. It's not that much walking. You can sit. You can go to the porta potties and you don't have to wait over an hour. And the food is all really great, even though it's expensive, but you can bring your own if you're not comfortable eating that as well. So thank you all for watching. I hope that this helped make your decision if you're considering going to Outside Lands, or let me know your thoughts about anything I've talked about. But yeah, I hope you have a great day, and just know that like these things are expensive and they are a luxury, so they shouldn't be stressing you out as well. You should be able to find a way to go about it, and maybe the expectations in your head of how bad it's going to be aren't actually going to be met, because you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You got this. And have fun at a major event. Bye.